I'm Jesse. This is our first episode of my cooking show, Deep Prep, and we're gonna make some spring rolls. So come on over here and let's look at our ingredient list. We've got our Napa cabbage. This is a long version. It's a Chinese version of Napa cabbage. Some yellow onion, king oyster mushrooms, some enoki mushrooms, some cilantro, some Thai basil, our little spring roll wrappers here that we're gonna hydrate. So we're gonna take our super long Napa cabbage, get a couple of nice long pieces, stack them on top of each other, and julienne, nice and fine. Once we get up to the really leafy parts, we don't want to use that. We're just going to set that aside. We're going to cut up our mushrooms. So we're going to take the bottom of the stem off, and then we're going to kind of just cut these into little kind of dice. If you can't find the king oyster mushrooms, a cremini would work. Even a medium button mushroom would work. And we've got another type of mushroom right here. These are called enoki mushrooms. We'll cut this nasty little bit off, and we're actually not going to cut these up at all. We're just going to kind of break them apart. Now we're going to work some herbs into the mix and some onions. So for this, we're going to dice this onion. And if you don't know how to dice yet, I'm going to show you. So you're going to take your knife, you're going to put it horizontally. You're going to push it into the onion, just slide it back like that. So we want a smaller dice, so we're going to do that a couple times. After that, we're going to come down through the onion, and then we're going to come across the onion. Next up, we're going to be using some Thai basil. Now we're going to pick these leaves whole, and we're going to wrap them in with the spring rolls, and they're going to actually look kind of pretty when they're done. And we drink beer. So I've got a super crappy electric stove at home, but we can work it out. We're going to heat up some oil in there. We're going to wait for this oil to smoke. Oil is smoking. First we're going to add in the mushroom that has the most moisture, which is the king oyster. It's going to sound like that! We're going to add in a little bit of salt because that aids in drawing out some of the moisture, so we can get a drier mushroom. It's going to absorb more flavor. We're just going to wait for those to kind of caramelize inside of there. And one trick that you know if your pan is hot enough, if you don't hear that sizzle, you're doing something wrong. Now we're going to throw in our onions. We're going to add a little bit more salt. All right, so our onions are getting a little bit sweated out, got a little bit of caramelization on. We're looking for something like, you know, they'll say translucent. We're going to throw in our Napa cabbage. This is all going to sweat out for just a couple minutes. Toss it around. Crack a little black pepper in here. A little bit of a Korean chili flake. Now this chili flake isn't too spicy, so you can be liberal with it because it's just adding a lot of flavor. And then finally we're going to throw in some of our enoki mushrooms and make sure they're all nice and broken up. We just kind of want to wilt these guys down. Don't worry about getting your hands up in the pan, you know? I mean, develop those asbestos fingers that you can reach into a flame. So now we're going to add a little bit of fish sauce, just about a tablespoon. Oh my god, that smells like poop, but it's delicious. I'm not saying that poop is delicious because poop is gross. Have I ever eaten poop? So we're gonna cut the heat on that. Now we're gonna squeeze a bit of lime in there so that we can balance it out with some citrus. I like to stick a fork in the lime, squeeze it, and give it a little twist like this. Shake that out, saute it up, put it into this bowl, and we drink beer. So we're gonna start wrapping our spring rolls. We've got our mixture that we made before and cooled. We've got our spring roll papers. So we'll start with putting one into some warm water. Just kind of mix it around. That's too hot. Then we just let it sit for about 20 seconds. Okay, so we've got our spring roll wrapper, and it's got a huge tear in it. If you get a tear in your wrapper, which sometimes happens because people pick them off the shelf and drop them on the ground, just put it towards the back so it's not towards the front. And the first thing we're gonna do is take a little bunch of cilantro. And we've got our mix. If it's not wrapped tight, well, it's gonna be gross. Now the key is to hold your thumbs at the back and push from the front and kind of stretch it tight across the back of the spring roll wrapper. Then you wanna fold it over as soon as you get about halfway, fold it over again, and then continue to wrap. Right when we're about to finish up wrapping, we're gonna stick a couple of leaves of red Thai basil right on the end. Roll it up. That's good. If you don't have a thermometer at home, I want to show you how to do this without one. I'm going to run my finger into some water, get a couple water drips, and I'm going to go over here to my homemade deep fryer. I'm going to drop one drop of water. Oh my god, that's hot! I'm just going to turn it down just a bit. Yes! All we're looking for is for them to be crispy on the outside and warm in the middle. That looks pretty good. That looks awesome. Is it good? And we drink beer.